What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to be covering interviews, and I'm going to give you 7 interview tips that are going to land you that dream job. So I have been on my fair share of interviews, and on going on so many interviews, I feel that I have finally mastered the game, and I wanted to share those tips with you. But before I get started, guys, I just wanted to say at the very end of the video, I am going to be sharing what I feel is the most important tip and something that you have to do when you are going on a nursing interview. So please watch until the end and I'll be sharing that. Let's dive in. 7 interview tips that are going to land you that dream job. Tip number 1 is to be you. Be yourself. It can be tempting to go into these interviews thinking that you have to act a certain way, or you have to speak a certain way, or you have to laugh a certain way. Of course, you have to be professional, but it doesn't take somebody very long to pick up on the fact that you are not being genuine. So you got to be you. It sounds very cliche, but you are unique. There's nobody else like you, and that is your superpower. So it's important that you tap into that and play up those skills, play up yourself. Go into this interview and show up as 100% yourself. Be you, be genuine, be authentic. My second tip is to do your homework, prepare, research, look up the organization that you want to be a part of, look up their mission statement, look up their values. When they say, why do you want to work for this organization? It's really important that you give a well thought out answer. And like I just said, it doesn't take someone long to figure out when you're not being authentic. When you give them some run of the mill, computer generated answer, they can pick up on that too. So look up what their mission statement is, look up what their values are, look up what this organization is about, and really ask yourself, why do I want to work for them? And answer that question with confidence. You will more than likely be asked that question, tell me a bit about yourself. So it's important that you prepare for this question as well. But I do just want to say, I tend to seek out organizations that have values that are in line with my personal values. So if this particular organization's, their values are compassion, integrity, excellence, and those are my personal values, I tell the interview that so that they know in my day-to-day work, in my day-to-day practice, not only am I working to fulfill the values of the organization, I'm also working to fulfill my own personal values. And it's kind of like a 2-for-1, right? It's a win-win. So that's a really great way to tell them a bit about yourself while also speaking on why you want to work for that organization. So that's my second tip, is to prepare and do your homework. My third tip is to prepare for scenario-based questions. This is when the interviewer is going to present you with a scenario and they want you to walk them through your thought process. They want you to tell them what would be your next move or what would you do. So I'll give you an example for any nurses out there who are watching this video and who want to work in a hospital. You will more than likely be presented with the scenario in which you have found a patient on the floor. They'll read you the scenario, you're walking in the hallway and you hear a loud thud coming from Mrs. Jones's room. You go in there and she's on the floor. What do you do next? They want to assess your level of critical thinking. They want you to be able to walk them through what you would do step by step and how you would see to it that your patient gets the best care and gets the care that they need. I know that scenario-based questions can seem daunting, but the more you prepare for them, the easier they become. And there are a whole bunch of resources online. So take advantage of this, do your research, prepare for scenario-based questions and be comfortable with them. And if they present you with the scenario and you don't know the answer or you don't know what you would do next, it's 100% okay to say, I don't know. Going back to the scenario that I just presented about that patient on the floor, if you don't know, say that, but don't just stop there. You could say, I would call for help. I would ask my charge nurse. I would ask my colleagues, but I would also consult the hospital policies and procedures. So even though in this moment I don't know how to answer it, I would make sure that the patient receives the best care in involving whoever I needed to involve. And then after the patient has been cared for, I would sit down, I would review that situation, what happened, what went well, what didn't go well, and what can I do to prepare better for the situation should it happen in the future. So it's always okay if you don't know, but the interviewer just wants to see that you are proactive in taking the steps necessary to make sure that you do know for the future. So that is my third tip. You got to prepare for these scenario-based questions. My fourth tip is to look good. There's no way around it, nothing fancy about it. You just have to look good. And I'm not saying that you have to go out, for my ladies, get your makeup done, get your hair done, get your nails done. And for my guys, go get this crazy haircut, or you don't have to do all of that. You just have to look like you put some thought and some effort into your appearance. So that is, showing up in a nice professional outfit, free of wrinkles, free of stains. You want your hair to be groomed. You don't have to put on a face full of makeup. You just want to look like you didn't roll out of bed. I really take care to look good when I go to work, but that's mainly because I put myself in the patient's shoes. So if I'm a patient and you walk in and you tell me, I'm your nurse, but your scrubs are wrinkled, you have stains all over, your hair's a mess, you look like you just rolled out of bed, I'm thinking, you're here to take care of me, but you look like you don't even take care of yourself. So it's really important that you show up looking good. Get some rest the night before, eat a well-balanced meal, put some music on before you go in, put yourself in a good mood. Just look good. This is going to set you apart from any candidates who decide to show up like they just rolled out of bed or that they don't care. When you put some effort into the way you look and you show up looking good, that tells the interviewer that you care. And that's only going to work to your advantage. So guys, you have to look good. So my fifth tip is to check your demeanor and your body language. You want to be open. You want to make eye contact. You want to smile. You want to be engaging, have your chest out and your shoulders back. So even in this video, if I'm talking to you, but my shoulders are slouched and I'm kind of slumped over like this, and I'm talking, but I'm not looking at the camera, my tone is low, I just sound so bored. And let's say you're talking back to me, but while you're speaking, I'm looking this way and just watching the butterflies. What kind of message does that convey? That is telling you that I would rather be anywhere but here, as opposed to me sitting up straight, putting my shoulders back, making eye contact, smiling, being engaging, being warm. That's going to convey a completely different message. We know that 80% of communication is nonverbal. So it's really important that in an interview, you are conveying professionalism and positivity with your body language, especially on camera. And that leads me into my sixth tip. So post-COVID, I would say that 95% of interviews are now virtual. So it's really important that you're putting some thought and effort into choosing an environment. You want to choose an environment that you are comfortable in, an environment that is clean, a clean background, it's well lit, it's quiet, it's free from distractions. You want to put yourself in an environment where you can focus on what the interviewer is saying, but where the interviewer can also focus on what you are saying, free from distractions. And you want to be comfortable in this space. You want to be able to be yourself. You don't want to be uptight. You want to be yourself. So put some thought and effort into choosing an environment, especially now that 95% of interviews are virtual. And guys, here is tip number 7. And this is what I consider to be the most important one, the tip of all tips. It really has the power to secure the bag. Okay. And that is to always ask a question. Always ask a question. There's going to be a time in the interview when the interviewer says, okay, that concludes my interview. Do you have any questions for me? You never want to say no. Always have a question prepared. It shows that you put some thought and effort into the interview, that you care and that you are engaged. And even if you're feeling that the interview didn't go so well, I said, I don't know a lot, or I stumbled over my words, or I was just really nervous, this is your time to really shine. So speaking from my nursing perspective, there's a bunch of questions that I usually ask. I usually rotate between asking the interviewer if they can speak to the culture on the unit, or what is the nurse-patient ratio like? Or I like to ask, you work with many nurses, and if you think about the nurses that stand out, the nurses that are just exceptional at their job, what are some things that they do day in and day out that make them stand out? Or what are some qualities that they possess? And bonus points if you can ask a question that is really going to make the interviewer stop and think. If you can make the interviewer stop and be like, that's a really good question. I've never really thought about that. You've just put yourself in like the top 3 candidates for sure. So it's really important that you go into an interview with at least 2 questions prepared. It's going to make you stand out from the rest of the candidates. It's going to show that you put some thought and effort into the interview. It's going to make you more engaging, and it's hopefully going to make you more memorable. And that's the name of the game when you go into an interview, right? You want to be memorable. They could be interviewing 10 candidates, but you got to ask yourself, what can I do to make myself stand out? So please always, always, always ask a question. So there you have it, guys. Those are my 7 tips that are going to land you your dream job. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any tips yourself that you would love to share, please leave them down in the comment section below. I would love to read it. As always, please like, subscribe, and share for more content like this. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.